Hi everyone, it's Wanda with the Armchair Cat Advocate. And I decided instead of doing a longer video about Jack, that I would just get on here, do a live stream. Whoever shows up, shows up. If nobody shows up, that's okay. This is just going to save me a lot of time because right after I finish the live, it'll just go up and then everybody can get their update and I don't have to go through my video and do the editing and yeah. So I'm being lazy. What I'm trying to say. It's the lazy way out, um, because I have to be. I can probably hang on here till around 11 o'clock, and then I have Zoom stuff in the afternoon. So I'm gonna have to feed the kittens and stuff before all that happens. I'm actually attending Maddie's Fund. I don't know. I guess you call it a workshop, and they're talking about kitten fostering. So I got in. I registered for that. I got into that, and I'm going to be doing that this afternoon, and then I'm going to be talking to. I'm also have another meeting. I have to go. Well, I don't have to be there, but I want to be there. So, and the two are like, one starts at 12 and goes to 3, I think, and the other one starts at 1. No, one starts at 12 and goes to 2, and the other starts at 1 to 2:30 or something like that. Anyway, they overlap. So I'm going to have the laptop up and I'm going to have my cell phone going so that I can attend both of them at one time. I've done it before. It's not easy, but it can be done. and I want to get as much information as I can. So let's talk a little bit about Jack. So I thought, the plan for today is talk a little bit about Jack, talk a little bit about the kittens. I do have some videos that I actually did 3 videos. Well, 2 yesterday and 1 early this morning, of Jack being in, and you can see his progress. He's doing better. There's some concerns, but he is doing better. And I did 3 videos on Saturday. Now, one I already have up, which is the one with the kittens. The kittens get a new home, or the kittens get basically the kittens get an upgrade. And then I did 2 after that. And I'm not sure if I want to put them up or not. And here's why. The last few days have been a shit show. It's been a lot. Saturday night, I got no sleep whatsoever. And I'm going to talk about that because it's about the kittens. But Saturday night was extremely stressful because at the last minute, I made the decision to bring Jack in, was trying to figure out how I was going to do this safely because he's got an upper respiratory infection and it's a bad one. Plus he's got that runny poop, and I didn't know at that point if he had FELV or FIV. My cats are stressed. They're done. They don't want anything else in here. I have no place really to isolate. My bathroom's too small. My bathroom's basically, you can sit on the toilet and touch the sink kind of thing. There's no way that I could fit a crate in. Even a small crate would pretty much, I mean, I might have like maybe this much room to get through. It would be a hassle. Like every time I would have to use the bathroom, I would have to pull the crate out and in and, So I didn't want to do that. That wasn't really practical. I can't put him anywhere in the living room because the living room's too narrow as well. There's no space for him in the living room. Plus, I didn't want him on the floor where the other cats could sniff at him because, some kind of infection. If he sneezes, coughs, they could potentially be infected. Obviously, don't want him in my bedroom because the other problem is he's an intact male, so he reeks. I mean, he reeks. It's the stereotypical crazy cat lady house smell that you expect when you walk into a house with like 20, 30 cats. It's bad. And it's coming from the fact that he's not neutered. He just reeks. Rogue was the same way when before he was neutered. Valentino also was a stinky boy. Some of those the males really, 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 I mean, it's awful. It just makes you want to gag. So I didn't want that in my bedroom, besides the fact that my cats all pretty much that's their space. They all spread out in the bedroom because they have the bed, they have the cat trees, they have multiple surfaces that they lay on and back there. Plus that's where I have a like what do you call it? Window, like a window area. um I actually it's the one feature of the apartment that I do like, and it's like you can it's like it'd be beautiful if I was in a woodland setting, a more rural setting, it would be beautiful. I mean, I would love to be able to wake up every morning and look out of those windows and be able to see nature. Of course, I just see scummy buildings and people screaming and cursing outside, but um, the cats enjoy it because they have this whole window area that they can sun themselves in. So there's that. Um, so I was trying to figure out how to do this, and I'm like, okay, my only option is I'll have to drag the big crate in, set that up, and then set Jack on top of that. Set the smaller crate on top of that. Um, and that's what I did. So I set up the big crate to put the kittens in. And then I set the smaller crate on top of that. And what I've done is I have a heavy, like a comforter thrown over that smaller crate that Jack's in. And I have a little small area where he can kind of look out and he can get air. But for the most part, I have that crate covered to kind of hopefully contain any sneezes or snot or, and then I have like double layer of towels, fabric towels underneath the crate. And I have a sheet over the kitten's crate. So hopefully, all those precautions. I mean, so far so good. I haven't, I watch the kittens and monitor them, make sure nobody's getting sneezy or have nasty eyes or anything. And then of course I'm disinfecting every day, and it's just a lot. So I brought Jack in Saturday night, and that was fun. And I'm saying that sarcastically. I went out first to get him. I took a carrier down to the parking lot to get him because he wouldn't come up, of course. Any other time, he'd be on the balcony raising hell and causing problems, but nope. I swear they know. I swear they have some kind of ESP where it comes to humans that they can just pick up on, yeah, they're up to something, you better run. So I took the carrier down. I had to abort the mission the first time because my neighbor came back and he scared them off. I mean, he didn't mean to, but just pulling in and saying, "Hey, hi, Wanda," and scared them off. So I had to come down a second time. Second time I brought some food down. Well, that got Jack's interest. He came over and I had a towel, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna just like rip me to shreds because he's attacked me already. He's gotten a lot better since I worked with him, but he still can be a bit feisty. So wrapped him in the towel, put him got him in the carrier. And like the best tip that I've ever gotten from a rescuer is if you have a cat that you need to get in a carrier, the easiest way to get them in a carrier is to scruff them and put them in hind legs first. Open the crate, put the crate on its end, put him in hind legs first. It's really easy. I mean, you're not going to have them. Obviously, an adult cat you don't want to hold by the scruff of the neck for long periods of time, but if you do it very quickly, it's less than a minute. get them by the scruff, lift, and put them in the carrier and shut the door. It works. It's like one of the best tips I ever got from a rescue person. It works really well. Any cat that I have difficulty with, that's what I do. Except my own, because I know them and I can kind of finagle them in. But when I'm working with strays that I don't know and I don't know how they're going to react, that's usually what I'll do. So got him in the carrier, brought him back up, put him in the crate. Everything was okay. We got him to PetSmart the next day to get his initial evaluation from Feline Solutions. And I don't know if I can say this on YouTube or not, but it's really funny. So Kayla, we have Carol is the founder of Feline Solutions. And Kayla is one of the volunteers. Kayla is heavily involved. She does a lot of, I think her and her husband even kind of do the checks for adoption. But she does all of the like initial assessments. Hi, Mary. Oh, your wins. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to have, they're calling for rain here. I don't know if we're going to have wind or not. And those winds are, I've heard Wyoming is notorious for winds. That's something I've heard over and over again. And just, we had a taste of them here in PA, and I can't imagine having that as much as you have it. That has to be just brutal, because it's so hard dealing with that and taking care of the cats and things are flying and the cats don't want to come out in it, and feeding is a hassle. So I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, just, if you go in and out, that's fine. I'm just going to, I said when I came on here, I can only be here till around maybe 11 or so, because I have 2 things that I have to do on Zoom in the afternoon. One's actually, I'm going to be sitting in on a workshop for Maddie's Fund, and they have, it's a 2-parter. It's a 2-part workshop on fostering kittens. So I thought, heck, there might be something that I can get out of it. And then the others, a group that I've been involved with with housing. So it's the Corporation for Supported Housing. It's the group that I'm co-chair of their People with Lived Experience council, and they are having one of their meetings today. So I'm going to have to drop off around 11 or so that I can feed kittens and Jack and take care of everybody. My cats are okay. They're fine. They're all sleeping now. They had their dinner, their morning. Oh my. It's good. It's good Mark isn't in there. He'd have in the chat. He'd have something to say about that, Mary. He would. What was the old thing? When I think back in the 60s or something, it said if the what is it? If the van is a rockin', don't come a knockin'. Or something like that. So yeah, I can't even imagine dealing. I mean, I've dealt with the winds, and I hate dealing with the winds. It's just yeah, he would. Well, even in the Mark, I know you can't be here now. Mark, for those of you who don't know, Mark is one of our subscribers. He's my mod too, and he's in the UK, so he can't be here obviously because he's at work right now. So we'll just let him say what he has to say in the comments afterwards. So I thought I would just come on here, Mary, and talk a little bit about, because people have been asking about Jack, and I thought it'd just be easier to do this rather than to do a designated video about it, because it's kind of a long story. But anyway, so yeah, Kayla does the initial intakes. So she does the weights and age, and gives them like a look over if there's something that she can't handle. She'll refer to a vet or some other rescue that might be able to take care of it. So that's kind of her function. And oh, Mary, what I have to say next, Mark's going to love. I'm I'm kind of glad he's not in here. So they were very, very busy because what they do is they have their every other Sunday they have their adoption events at PetSmart, and that's when all of the fosters come in with the cats, because that's, Kayla is the one who clears the cats for spay neuter and then adoption. So once she makes sure the cat is, like, she kind of temper tests and make sure the cat's not aggressive, or there's issues there, or if there's some other concern that, say the cat has FELV, that's a different situation. So, she just makes sure that the cats are relatively healthy, that they don't need any special vet care, anything like that. And then, like in the kitten's case, she was monitoring them until they got old enough to be spayed and neutered. Now that they're ready to be spayed and neutered, then Carol takes over and schedules all that, and then they'll go up for adoption. So they were very busy on Sunday because all the fosters were coming in, getting their kiddos checked to see where are we in the process. And I think I was probably like one of the last ones that she got to. And when I went in for her, when I went into the room to have her tell me what was happening, first thing she says to me is, she looks at me and she says, "This cat has the biggest pair of uh, that I've ever seen on a cat." And I'm like, could there possibly be an infection or something? That she said, no, no. She said, everything looks fine. She said, I've just never seen this. It's just like, he's just very well endowed. And then she goes, "Wanda, I'm telling you, I took a picture of it." I'm like, okay, I'm putting it up on the Facebook. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really crazy cat lady territory. Where you're putting pictures of, you know, the male cat's powder puffs, or the little puff balls, on the on on Facebook, because it's just, it's so strange that these are just above average. I'm like, okay, I'll be sure to tell my YouTube. I'll be sure to tell my YouTube audience that. And she says, "Yeah, do, because it's really something." So Mark, look, have fun, but just try to control yourself. giant trouble, giant trouble nuggets. Yeah. Well, that would explain why he's maybe that would explain, why he's the way he was outside with his, he's very alpha male. um I don't, he went after a cat. First time I ever saw him do this, but he went after a cat on Saturday night. There was and I haven't seen it since, the poor thing. It was I thought it was Abra at first. It was this little black cat, and it, from a distance, I thought it was Abra, because it was like, when I said Abra, it kind of looked over at me. And then when I looked again, I thought, wait a minute, that's not Abra. That's too small to be Abra. And it kept meowing at me. And Abra's not a big talker. She's more of like a burp, burp, or she'll just nip at me. She's not a real big meow cat. And I tried to get close to this cat. This cat kept meowing. I tried to get close to it. And Jack was like walking along beside me, and as I was reaching for the cat, he lunged and actually attacked it. I managed to break him up without getting myself torn up. But then this little black cat ran off, and the cat looked like it had been owned. It looked like it had been owned, so either lost or someone dumped it, I don't know. But it looked like it had been an owned cat because it was in good shape. The fur looked healthy. It looked like a healthy weight. The fur looked in good condition. I don't know. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out. Hopefully, maybe it'll come back. Um, and I can see. I'm just hoping that it's not the neighbor that I got the kittens from, because they have a black cat, a male black cat, indoor cat that they said is neutered. So I'm hoping they didn't just decide they didn't want that cat either, or they got another cat and they decided that cat they didn't want and just throw it out, because they have a habit of doing that. They think that pets are disposable. So, you know, that would explain the issues that Rogue has with him too, because Rogue's dominant. He's a dominant Tom too. And it's really funny now that Jack is inside. Everything's kind of leveled out outside. Everything there's Lawless and Wuss Puss. They're not. They're like more confident. They're coming right up to the feeding station. They're not kind of doing this looking around to see where he is. So hopefully having him removed, and if we can get him adopted out, that would be great, to just get him removed from the situation entirely. That would just be fabulous, because he really needs, I think a lot of his behavioral problems that he showed outside was because he really is not an outdoor cat. He's an indoor cat. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, Mary. I'm just wondering. I don't know. I've never seen their cat. I think she showed me a picture, but I don't remember what he looked like. But it wouldn't surprise me at all, because apparently that's what they did with one of their dogs too. And Nika, the one the cat that they had, the mom cat, Kayla had her. Kayla, I think, no, she's at PetSmart now. Kayla had her. Kayla fostered her for a brief time, and then I guess she retested her because the kittens all came out negative for FeLV, and that really, she couldn't really understand that. So I think that's why she tested her again. But she didn't have any problem with Nika. She was fine. She used the litter box appropriately, because if she didn't, she wouldn't be up for adoption. So, there's that's a whole other video, but um if your cat is showing behavioral issues, or they're not using the litter box appropriately, the standard advice is take them to the vet first to make sure it's not some kind of medical issue. And then if that all clears, or health issue, if that all clears, then start looking around and seeing what changed, what is upsetting them. Do they not like the litter? Do they not like where the box is placed? Do they not like the box? Yeah, Mary, she's doing really good. When I walked in to because they have it in a back room. So the PetSmart, local PetSmart, they have like rooms in the back, because I think the intent was to have one of those, what do they call them, the Bannon vet clinics or whatever that they have in some PetSmarts. I think that was the original intent when they built that store. but I don't think it ever happened for whatever reason, because now I see that they're looking for like a private vet to come in and rent space there. But for now, Feline Solutions is doing their adoption events back there. So they have all the cats back there. And then Kayla has a exam room that she does her intakes and stuff in. And I think also like they do the microchip and stuff like that. If they have a cat that they adopt out, or that someone's picking up a cat that's been approved for adoption. So when I walked in, I thought that cat looks kind of like Nika. Is that Nika? And then when I was getting ready to leave, Kayla said, Did you see that mom cat's out there?" And I said, "No, I didn't." And I said, "I saw one that kind of looked like her, but I wasn't sure." She said, "Yeah, that's her." So she took me over and showed me to her. And she said she's doing really good. In fact, I'll read you the text that she sent me, because she sent me a text. Let me see here. Where's it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So Kayla said, she said, I absolutely love her. She's so sweet. She is currently staying at PetSmart in one of our satellite cages to get some views, and she was absolutely loving it in her space. She's been so sweet and happy with every step of her journey since she came to us. So she's been no problem. Even when I looked at her and I said, "Do you remember me?" And she kind of looked at me, and I said, "Do you remember me? Do you remember me?" And I put my hand in, and she came over, and she was doing this to it was so sweet. And one of the volunteers came by and said, would you like to adopt her? Maybe you should just take her home. And I said, "I'm the one who rescued her." Unfortunately, I can't. You know, if I had the space and I had, billionaire money, yeah, things would be different. But unfortunately, I don't have that. So, it is what it is, and we do the best we can with what we got. So Jack has so here's what's happening with Jack. Jack, of course, needs to be neutered. That's obvious. He does have a upper respiratory infection, so I'm continuing him on the Doxy, and also he gets saline nose drops. So I have to irrigate his nose. I do it like twice a day to help clear that congestion. He's not sneezing as much as he was. I'm not seeing bloody snot, which is good. I did think about putting a humidifier up, but I have I don't know what you call them, but I don't know what the technical term is for them, but I have the little gauges that I have like 2 or 3 of them throughout the apartment. Because before I had cats, I had house plants, and I have sinus issues. So I was always, in the winter, it would get dry in here. So when it would drop below a certain amount, certain percentage, then I would run my humidifiers. The back room is about 35%, which is okay, maybe a little higher for cold. So, and it's a little warmer today. So I thought about putting a humidifier in the kitchen, but I don't know. I think it's going to make it too steamy. So, I'm just going to let that go for now. I do have a cold water one. I do have a cold water one that I could run. I just realized that. Maybe I'll put that in. Maybe I will put that in the kitchen for them. But he seems to be better. Sneezing's better. I don't have the bloody snot now. He's been really good. I was kind of nervous, actually, because in the past he has, like I said, he has attacked me. But I think a lot of that is, I think Chris Wiley suggested that too, that maybe a lot of his batting and swatting was attention-seeking behavior, because he was an owned cat, and suddenly he's out there and he's not used to that, and obviously he loves attention. So I'm not sure yet. I'm just keeping an eye on him. And I'm still being careful when I'm around him because I don't need to get injured. But he's been really good. He lets me pick him up. He's okay being held. I wrap him in a towel. He takes his medicine fine. He's even okay with the doing the nose. He doesn't like it. He does this kind of thing, trying to move his head around so I can't put it in his nostrils. But he's not, he doesn't try to bite or anything. He tolerates it. He's okay with that. I've been looking at his pads, and I wanted to say something to Kayla and forgot, but his pads look a little swollen, and I don't know if that's just from him being outside and walking around, but it kind of looks like Pillowfoot to me because that's what the way Toro's pads looked, and Toro's pads were all bloody when I first started treating him. And Toro right now he's in the back room sleeping. He comes in and out. So I don't know, but for now that's minor compared to all the other issues that he has. The other thing that he has that I'm not sure, how that's going to be addressed is we wanted to get a stool, and this has been going on since he's been outside. So Jack came, okay. So let's just, we were talk about Jack a little bit. Jack came to the colony back in the end of 23. So end of September, beginning of October. So, hi, cat mama. That you can lurk all you want, cat mama, not a problem. I wasn't planning on this. I just thought I would do it this way because I had people asking me to give like a more full update on Jack and kind of tell his story. And I thought that's going to be like an hour and a half long filmed video. And then I have to go through it and do a thumbnail and, edit it slightly and all that stuff. And this is just easier. I'm just taking the lazy way out. That's all. Because this will just go up automatically. I can slap a thumbnail on it and we're good to go. So I was talking about Jack, and Jack came in the end of September, beginning of October 23. And at first he was just lingering around the periphery. He would be under cars. He would stay in the shadows. Yes, Pillowfoot is autoimmune. Yep. I don't think they really know what causes it, but the pads get like, I would have to look it up to explain it because I don't have that knowledge. I mean, I understand it, but for me to explain to someone is really hard. But it's an autoimmune, and it just makes their pads like squishy. They're not like cats' pads they're firm. They have some give, but they're still firm, and they're usually not swollen. Pillowfoot, they're kind of swollen, and they have like a squishy consistency to them. I don't like touching them. It just gives me, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the texture. It's like, because it just feels like one of those things that you like the stress balls. They kind of feel like that. And I just imagine how hard that is for them walking on those feet if they're outside. Like inside, because Tora, and I think Tora might be an older cat anyway, he sleeps almost all the time. He's very, very laid back. He goes outside and he likes to wander around, but then he wants to come in and just lay down and take a nap. So, and he's coming into the warmer weather, I'm sure they'll start staying out longer and longer, and they'll just come up and sleep on the balcony. I'll put little beds out for them and they'll sleep on the balcony. But yeah, Pillowfoot is autoimmune. They did research, and doxycycline's like one of the best things that you can that helps them with it. And some cats, they actually keep them on Doxy for their life to keep it under control. I didn't have to do that with Tora, but if he was outside, maybe. So, Jack, when Jack first came here, he hid in the shadows, hid under cars. And honestly, when I would just see him out of the corner of my eye, I couldn't tell sometimes if it was Rogue or if it was another cat, because he's marked very similar to Rogue, except he's short hair and Rogue has longer. Rogue's like a medium. He's not really long haired, but he's a longer haired cat. He's more floofy. And he also has the little racing stripe on his nose, which Jack doesn't have. But other than that, they're similar. And I'm very partial to black cats, tuxedo cats, and the cow kitties. So the black and white cats and black cats are my favorites. I'm just really partial to them. I don't know why, just a preference. So I was trying to get him to come to me. He didn't want to come to me. Eventually, he started getting closer. And it was kind of clear from the beginning that he was very anxious. It was like he wanted to trust me, but he couldn't. So he would come, walk away, come, walk away, come, walk away. And I started bringing food over to him because he would come into the courtyard and I would start bringing food to him. And I would just sit it down and then he would come over and, eat by me. And then little by little, he got to the point where I could touch him. He would tolerate that for a few seconds. Then he would lash out and try to swat me. And, it was just, I think he might have been abused. I don't know if he was abused on the street or if it was in his home. I don't know what happened. I mean, that's the thing. You never know what happened to these cats. You don't know their story. You just have to work with what you have. I don't know. He just kind of presented as very, like, certain ways that I would move or certain ways that I would reach out to him. He would be okay. And then all at once he'd go ballistic. And so I'm thinking some kind of trauma was involved. And that's why he did that, because certain ways that I moved or the way that I tried to touch him triggered memories and caused that reaction. I don't know. That's all that I can think. That's all I can think of. So he was there in September, October. The longer he hung around, and the more that he started coming to me, I thought, okay, well, now we got to give you a name. So it was coming into Halloween season, it's coming spooky season. And one of my favorites is The Nightmare Before Christmas. I watch it every year. And, he has the tuxedo. I'm like, Jack Skellington. We're going to call you Jack. So that's how he got his name. So Jack, he just hung out with the colony. At that point, I think he was newly dumped for however he was on the street. I think he had just gotten on the street because he wasn't sick at that point. He wasn't, he seemed like he was okay. His feet looked a little swollen at that point too, but other than that, he looked okay. He didn't seem like he had any real problems. I can't remember if he was having problems with the poop at that time or not. I don't remember anymore. But he was there from October. He was there for like maybe about a month. And then coming into November, he disappeared. And I'm like, okay. So, and male cats, it's not unusual for them to disappear for a day or two when they're out doing whatever it is that, they're doing, which is generally looking for a girl or food or causing chaos with other males. And I just kept an eye open for him, and he didn't come back, and he didn't come back, and he didn't come back. And I started looking for him. I would walk around the block and look for him because he had at that point he had kind of become one of the regulars. And then one night I was coming back. This was, I guess, this was in November sometime. I was coming back. I was coming back from the store, and I came around the front of the building, and on the corner I saw a cat that looked like Jack. Now we have a one-way street and we have cars parked, so it's narrow. So there was no place for me to park. And I couldn't just, I stopped briefly, put on my blinkers, went out and called his name. Didn't see him. He kind of like just didn't see him. And I went around back, parked, and then I walked around to the front and I called him and I looked and I couldn't find him. But I thought that was him, and well, at least hopefully if that's him, that gave me a little, sliver of hope that something bad didn't happen to him, because that's the worst part of taking care of these cats is you have one and they disappear before you can do anything for them, because it's not always easy to help them. I had a orange one. I called him Creamsicle because he was orange on the outside and white chest, and I called him Creamy. So I called him Creamy Dreamy. His nickname was Creamy Dreamy. And this poor cat always came back. It was obvious he had been owned. He did not do well. The ones that had been owned, it's like the cruelest thing in the world. People, and I'm trying not to judge, because I know there are people that get in desperate situations and they can't find placement for their pets. And as a last ditch resort, it's like, well, the block over, there's Crazy Cat Lady that takes care of the cats. She'll take care of it. She'll, she gets them, she takes them to rescues. I would rather they knock on my door and ask me, can you take this cat? Can you help me with this cat? But that's not what happens. They're just dropped off. And owned cats that have been indoors, yeah. And Mary, she says, it really is. Haven't seen Mama Kitty for a couple of weeks. Always a worry. Yeah, when you don't see them, you start to worry about them. Like, what happened to them? So I was trying to find a rescue for Creamy, and couldn't find one, and then he disappeared. And he hasn't been back since. And I really don't think, I hope that something positive happened with him, but I really think that it probably didn't end well for that poor cat, because he was always, he had an abscess on his face and I would go down with my little bag of saline and, my antibiotics and stuff, and try to clean him up, and, and doing that out on the street, because I rent, and, I can't really have a rescue in here. So it's always hard when they go missing. I have one now that I don't know what happened to him. He's one of my original colony cats, Lucy. He's from one of her litters, and his name is Shizuku, and Shizuku was never a very he was always, from the time he was a kitten. I don't know, it's weird, because the other kittens in the litter were all really friendly, and I was able to socialize them. He wanted nothing to do with me from day one. Nothing. He would go with his siblings, but he wanted nothing to do with me. And even when he was trying to get him in a trap, we could never get him trapped. He was just too trap savvy. So he wasn't neutered. And when I would go down to feed him at night, he would come to the gate and he would meow, and then he would run under the car and wait for the food. And if I would try to touch him, he'd swat at me. So, aw. Cat Mama says, I was talking to my gray girl Ruby about that last night and told her I was sorry that happened to her and promised her she is home for good. Aw. I know, and I think they really do understand that too, and they do understand. I don't know. I don't. I had dogs pretty much my entire life until, I mean, when I was a baby, my parents had dogs, so I grew up around dogs, and until about 2012, when I had, it was I was in a trailer. I had an illegal eviction. It was a horrible situation with a landlord, and I had no choice but to surrender my dogs. And so after that, I decided I would never have another pet. That was like it. I didn't want a dog. I didn't want any living thing. I did get a betta fish, but you know, I'm talking about, like, and I mean, you can get attached to your fish. I know people that can get it. I mean, I like my fish too, but um, it's a different. It's not the same kind of interaction, as it is with, at least for me, as it is with a more companion animal. And I wanted nothing to do with getting another companion animal. And then 2020 happened, and my cat that's laying right in front of me here in his little cat bed, Rogue, he showed up in beginning of January of 2020, really cold night. He came up with the other colony cats, and he, looked at me and I looked at him, and and he pretty much decided then and there that he was going to stay. And I kept telling him, I don't want a cat. And he kept saying, I don't give a shit. I'm going to sit. You need this. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to change your life. And you don't understand what you don't understand what I'm going to bring into your life and how I'm going to change it and how much I'm going to contribute to you refocusing your advocacy work on animals. So, yeah, it's his fault. Right, Rogue? He's sleeping, he doesn't care. But um he's the one, he just decided he was going to stay. I If I'd had presence of mind to take video of it, I should have, but there was just, and it was Valentine's Day of 2020. He came in to my apartment for the first time, and he stank so bad because he was an intact male. And he came in and he actually walked. He walked, he did the entire, it was like somebody doing a walkthrough of an apartment or house that you are potentially, going to rent or own. And he came into the kitchen. He's like looking around, looks in the bathroom, looks in the living room, goes back into the bedroom, jumps up on my bed, lays on my bed, looks at me, gets off the bed, walks right back and goes to the back door, and then kind of looks over his shoulder at me. He's like, yeah, next time I come in here, it's going to be permanent. They know. Oh, thank you, Mary. Yeah, it was. I don't wish that on anybody. Um, Having to lose your pets like that. So, back to Jack. So Jack went missing, and I would catch glimpses of him here and there. Once in a while, I would catch a glimpse of him, and then he just kind of vanished, and I just didn't see him, and I didn't see him, and I didn't see him, and I figured, okay, I guess I don't know, something happened. And then right before, I think it was like 2 days or so before Christmas, guess who shows up? The Nightmare Before Christmas came back. And it's kind of ironic I named him Jack because literally, like 2 days before Christmas, he came back. Just like, and then there was and so at that point, because I had been talking to Feline Solutions about him, and then he disappeared. So when he came back, then I started talking to them again, and I forget what happened. Did he leave again? I think he did. I think he might have. I don't remember what happened, but um we were, between the time that he came back, I think I think what was happening, I think there was something we were trying to figure out a way to foster him or something, because I don't know. I don't remember. There was something hanging that up that I couldn't get him in at that time. So then in February of 24, another cat, and those of you who have been on this channel remember Valentino, another cat showed up at my door, and he was a mess. He had his paws were all messed up. He had a lot of problems. So then Jack got bumped because of Valentino. So I had Valentino from February until like May. And then he went to someone. We're not even going to talk about that, because in person gave him a good home, but she now bad mouths me, bad mouths Feline Solutions, and I don't want to give her any energy. So then, let me see, then what happened? Then I think, did Jack disappear again? I think he might have disappeared again. Yeah, I think he did. I think he disappeared again. And then when he came back, he was thin, because I thought, he doesn't look good. He's just not looking good. And, I was trying all this time. I didn't know what to do for him, because his one issue that he had, well, the one thing that prevented him from going into a rescue and getting adopted was he was unpredictable. He would still lash out at me. He'd be okay. Like, I'd be petting his head and he'd be okay with it. And then all at once he just, blah. I mean, one time I was in the courtyard I was just petting him. I was just just doing this. And all at once he freaked out, and he grabbed he latched. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he got the tip of his nail in the pad of my finger, and he was pulling me. It was like a fish hook in my finger, and he was pulling me across the courtyard because he was running back. He was freaking out. He was running and hissing at me and growling. I'm like, I don't want you to hold on to me. I'm trying not to hold on to you. I'm surprised. I mean, luckily all I had was a puncture. I'm surprised that he didn't actually tear my fingertip open. But there were a lot of there was a lot of incidents like that where you can't I wasn't in good faith. Look, this rescue group, Feline Solutions, had helped me in other situations. I wasn't going to lie to them and say, oh yeah, he's a great cat, there's nothing wrong. And then because they're trusting me to let them know if there's any temperament issues or anything, health issues, anything like that. I'm not going to betray that trust, because we had a good working relationship. So I couldn't really do anything with him at that point, because I couldn't take him into a rescue. I wasn't even sure I could handle him. I did off and on. I think there was once or twice I tried to get some antibiotics into him and got him into him for a couple of days. But then, they're outdoor cats and he'd disappear. He was a male. He'd be wandering around and he would disappear. And then eventually he just decided he was going to come up and be on the balcony because I have little cat boxes there. And then that caused problems because then he was attacking the other cats. And it was just a mess. I mean, this cat really came in. And I was getting to the point where I was just like, I wish you would just leave and not come back. And I know that sounds horrible, but you have to understand the kind of disruption that he did to the colony. It was just, I mean, I'm seeing right now that he's pulled out, everything's kind of like really calmed down. It went from like here to here in a day. Because he's a dominant Tom. And he runs the roost. He wants to be the top cat. And he's going to challenge and he's going to fight. And then the ones that are more submissive don't get food. And it becomes a real problem. When he was on the balcony and I started working with him, I started to see that, he learned things like I taught him, I used a broom, and this has been a big source of controversy and contention with another channel. I don't want to give them a lot of energy, but the things that they have said are complete and total lies. They know they're lies and they continue to say them. That's all I'm going to say about it. But what I did with Jack is I had a broom and I would take the broom and I would push him with the broom, push him off the balcony. And I got him to the point where I would take the broom out and I'd say, Jack, off the balcony. And he would walk and he'd go down the steps and he'd wait at the bottom while I fed Lucy. Lucy's an older cat. Lucy's at least, she's got to be at least 6-7 years old. Because she was here before I even started feeding them, or I didn't even know what TNR was before like the end of 2019. And I've been here since 2013. And all the time I've been here, we've had cats wandering around, stray cats wandering around. So I would use and because also he would, if I would try to pick him up, he would go at me. Excuse me. Then I taught him, he learned, he wasn't allowed to go because he would, I don't think he was being aggressive, but he would just bully Lucy. I put food down for Lucy and he'd go and try to push her away from her food. And I taught him, no, you can't do that. So I would feed him like down the balcony a little bit and feed her. And then I would have to bring her into, because she's an outdoor cat. She was born outside. She's always been outside. I've tried to bring her in a couple of times. She won't have anything to do with it. She wants to stay out. She will come into my apartment, but only if I leave the door open. That's it. The door has to be open. And I can't do that when I first started working with the cats before I had Rogue, and Rogue would go in and out anyway. I was able to do that then. I can't now because I have my strictly indoor cats that I don't want to open the door and everybody runs out. So he learned, so she would eat in the doorway. I would stand and watch over while she would eat in the doorway, and he would eat outside somewhere else on the balcony. And, that went well. And then he learned that I would tell him, you have to move. You have to get into your house. And he would get in his little cat house on the balcony when she was eating. But he would still, and the cats would go in and out. Like Abra would be afraid of him. Rogue didn't want anything to do with him because he would lash out at them. So, there's been issues with, that is an easy workaround. You just you just adopt him to a family as a single cat. You just tell them, look, he's not good around other cats, so you adopt him to somebody that just wants a cat and that has plenty of time to spend with him and love him and everything. So that's kind of where all that, the background of Jack. And little by little, when he got back on the balcony and he started eating on a regular schedule, he started to gain his weight again. I would keep weight on him. I mean, I just weighed him, I don't know. It was before the one cold snap, and he had gained like 2 more pounds. So he was doing pretty good. My Wi-Fi? I don't know. I might have an interruption in my Wi-Fi, Mary, because it looks like I have my bars are not looking too good. Stupid Comcast. Hopefully it won't go down. So if it goes down, I don't know, my Wi-Fi conked on me. I'll try to come back up. Thank you, Mary. I'm going to read this. Mary says, the broom was just a buffer for safety. That's what we used at the sanctuary if there was a rumble. Yeah. Exactly. There was nothing, there was nothing abusive with that broom. I had, here's the thing. I'm not stupid, okay? I know there are content creators that will put on the dumbest shit you ever want to see. They don't think, they'll do something like they'll scare the crap out of their kid and their kid's crying and they think it's cute and funny. Oh, I don't get a lot of views, and they put it up and then they wonder why they get hate. It's like, why would you put that up? Why would you put that? Why would you put up what essentially is child abuse? Why would you put that up? It's not funny. It's not funny at all. There are people that do that. I'm not that person. I'm smart enough that if I'm going to do something illegal or I'm going to mistreat something, I'm not going to have photographic evidence of it on YouTube where thousands of people can see it. That's dumb. I like to give myself credit for being, I'm not a genius, but I like to give that is, Mary, it is child abuse. And I'd like to give myself, that much credit that I'm not completely brain dead, that I know the difference. I know what's appropriate to put on this channel and what isn't. I mean, I have videos that I have one of Jack where he attacked me, and I was going to put it up, and then I sat with it, and I in the end I didn't put it up because I didn't want people to misunderstand, number one. Number two, he drew blood, and I didn't know how YouTube would feel about that. And, I just didn't put it up in the end. But the thing is that I filmed myself with the broom, and I even showed people. I even I held the broom next to Jack, and Jack just kind of like, I'm supposed to leave. I mean, he didn't cower. He didn't run. He didn't have any real reaction. It was just, yeah, I know that when you get the broom out, that means I'm supposed to leave, that I'm in trouble. And that's it. And anybody who watches the videos of him, if I was as abusive as these people are trying to say I am, and there's been a lot going on that channel. And apparently there's another video that just went up. And this person continually lies. And I'm just at the point where, okay, do whatever you want. We'll fight it out through the authorities. YouTube won't do anything. We'll fight it out through the courts if I have to. We'll fight it out through the authorities. Very simple. Stop talking about me. Stop talking about my community. Stop talking about the channel. take down that horrible video that you and your frenemy did on me, where you basically accused me of weaponizing my very real mental health diagnosis as a tool to take down your frenemy's channel, which never happened. I proved it didn't happen. I did a 9-hour stream where I went through all the text. I was very transparent, and you still have it up. So I don't want to hear, I've never said anything bad about anybody. I've never said anything bad about any channel. Yes, you have. You've said lots of bad things about people. I have the text to prove it. And when I'm done talking about Jack, I have one email. I don't want to give this person a lot of energy, and I'm not going to name the channel because those who know. But I did get an email from someone. Now, this person's legitimate, and I think it's interesting. And the reason I'm going to read it is because it kind of proves that what I've been saying all along, the person is running a grift over there. It's a scam. Their little LLC is nothing more than a scam. You're not helping anybody. You're only helping yourself. And to what extent, we don't know. We don't know how much money she's getting. We don't know. But I really don't think it's right what's happening over there. You know, it's one thing if you're actually, if you're a legitimate rescuer or you're legitimately trying to help cats, but obviously if all you do is talk about me and my channel and, you know, we're constantly shit talking other people and other channels, then that's not about the cats now. It's about drama. So maybe look at yourself before you put up your stupid little videos. So we're going to leave that. We're going to put a pin in that and we'll go back to that. And like I said, then I'm just going to let it go. So, you know, I did what I could with Jack. And the other issue that Jack has, and I did all kinds of things to try to figure this out. He has, yeah, Mary, he has, it's not diarrhea. It's like he goes and it's runny, but he goes like, it's not a diarrhea situation where he's constantly going, but he also leaks some fecal matter. And I don't know what that is. I've tried deworming. I've tried antibiotic. I mean, I've tried different foods. I've tried, everything that I could try without actually taking to a vet, because the fact of the matter is, and this is something that I've been saying since day one, and I'm sorry, folks, you know, I have a dear friend. Her name is Susan. I've talked about her on the channel. And she's the one that helped me transport the cats to PetSmart on Sunday. And while we were waiting for the cats to get examined, her and I had a long talk. And she's originally from New York. And she was telling me, she said, you know, everything that I've told her and what she's known herself, because she basically got scammed out of $200 with this person. She said, yeah, she's this typical grifter mentality. You know, it's the way grifters work. And she said, honestly, she said, you just stay away from the person. Stay away from them. Don't give them any energy. And, you know, just, if there's an issue, report it to the authorities. Go through the authorities. If YouTube won't help, then go to the authorities. If it gets bad enough, we'll find a way to get it into the court system. So that's kind of where it's at right now. So, you know, I've done, and this person knows that I've done everything that I possibly could for Jack. I don't have money. You know, I'm on SSI. I'm disabled. I'm 58 years old. I do not have money to vet cats that aren't mine. I struggle even to vet cats that are mine. That's why I have rescue friends, people that either have access to vet techs or vets that can help me out. That's the only way I can do what I can do. And Mary, Mary, I mean to call you out, but Mary and I said Mary's my emotional support person on this channel because she goes through similar. And it's not easy. It's not. And it's just going to get worse. I don't see it getting any better. I just see it's going to get worse until things get straightened out. I don't want to get too political here, but we have a shit show right now going on. I'm just going to say that. And I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. But if I can't take care of myself, where are the cats going to go? And I'm not the only one in that situation. I'm not. So, back to Jack. So, Jack, Jack has this poop problem. And I tried pretty much everything. I've had people, suggest all kinds of things. And I've tried all kinds of things and just couldn't seem to get him under control. And he always seemed to have this like low level chronic respiratory infection too, that I could just never kind of get under control. But, he ate well and he has, he has an okay weight. Oh, wow. Mary. So the rescue gal that helps me is from New York as well. Yeah. And see, Mary, I mean, that's what you have to do. I mean, if you don't have money and sometimes it's not even an issue of money. It's just that there's a vet shortage and places don't have you don't have access to vet care because they aren't taking new patients, or they're so outrageously expensive that even if you do have a job, it's just, you can't afford it. So there's lots of barriers to vet care right now. So kind of the whole thing that with the Jack, it kind of just came to a head the other week. Jack, we had a cold snap. I mean, really severe cold, like not as bad as what Mary had and with winds, but we did have winds. We had winds and we had below freezing temps, like 20, 14, 12 degree freezing temps. And that went on for about a week. And Jack, while that was going on, he left his house on the balcony and he went over to across in the back here of an alleyway, and across the alleyway there's a rental house and a mechanic lives there. Car mechanic lives there right now. And Jack and some of the other bachelors. Wow. This is Wyoming has very few vets. Closest is 30 minutes away and not preferred. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, so even if you have money in that situation, are you going to get a vet? Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, what's worse, no vet or a bad vet? I mean, I don't know. That's a hard one. But anyway, back to Jack. Let me turn that off. So he would hang out underneath the porch with his bachelor friends. And after the cold snap, he came back on the balcony. When he came back on the balcony, he was sick. Snot coming out of his nose, goopy, gunky mucus out of his eyes. I'm like, oh, Jack. Now what? Now what? And keep in mind, folks, all this time that this is going on, I mean, this is now like, over a year of trying to deal with this cat and trying to figure out what to do with him and trying to find a place for him. And, just with basically on, a shoestring budget, if even that, a wing and a prayer, basically. I've had to deal with this other channel. And the content creator and her subscribers constantly talking about how I'm abusing this cat. I don't care about him. I don't take good care of him. I have the screenshots, so she can say whatever she wants, but I have screenshots that says otherwise. She can claim, she can swear up and down that she doesn't shit talk other people and their channels, but I have proof that she does, because I have the screenshots and it's all about me. I'm sorry I ever met this person. I'm sorry I ever let her on the channel. I'm sorry I ever tried to help her. I mean, it really makes you not want to help people or trust people when you have these kind of experiences. And her frenemy is just the same. So, I'm sorry if I tend to ramble on and rant about this person, but this has been a thorn in my side for a very long time. I'm trying to do, like yesterday, I had, like I said, the last few days have been a shit show. Saturday, the kittens got their last vaccination. Thank you, never give up. Yeah, I'm trying very hard to just, ignore it. I am. I'm really working hard. I mean, yeah. Yes. So never give up says you can't worry about what others are saying, and at the end, Jack is not your responsibility. And he's not. He's a colony cat. He's a stray cat. He says you are giving of yourself as much as you can, and he says it's too bad instead of helping Jack, they are sending you hate mail. Yeah. Absolutely. So, last ditch effort to help Jack, I texted Kayla and sent some pictures and said, look, what do I do? She said, I can look at him this Sunday. If you bring him in, run it past Carol, get her okay, I'll look at him. So that's what we did. I texted Carol. Carol was the founder. Carol Molina. She's the founder of Feline Solutions. Feline Solutions started as a TNR, like a trap, neuter, return service. So basically, they would go out and they would trap the cats and get them neutered and everything for folks that couldn't afford it. And that's how that started. And then it morphed into something bigger. It morphed into an actual rescue. And so now it's a rescue. It's a network of volunteers. Like, there's no standalone building. It's just a network of volunteers. And they do really amazing things in the community. They are really, really committed to what they do. So Carol came back and she said, yep, she said, I will help you. I'm down for helping him. Whatever we can do, we'll do. So, and, Cat Mama was nice enough to, she actually offered to help get some vet care for Jack, and her and I talked about it, and I said, let's see if Feline Solutions will take him. If they will take him, you can just, donate some money to them, and they can, then they can use that to help get him a new home, because that's what he needs. He needs to be in somewhere with somebody that loves him. He loves attention. He absolutely adores attention. He wants to be snuggled and cuddled. That's what he wants. So we got him to PetSmart. You know the rest of the story, but like I said, the last few days have been difficult, because after they got their the kittens got their vaccinations on Sunday, they got sick. So I had a puke party. And I can tell you, at one point I was pretty much on the kitchen floor ready to just bawl because I was so tired and I was in so much pain from the fibromyalgia because I was carrying cats up and down the stairs, and then I had to get some I had litter, I had cat litter I had to get, I had, other stuff, and I was bringing things up and down, and we didn't get back until like 6 o'clock in the evening. And then I had to take care of the colony and take care of my indoor crew. And I mean, and it was just a lot. And by the time I was ready to just to sit down, then the puke party started. I don't know how many pee pads I went through, how many times I changed that pen. I took their bedding out because they puked all over it. Then, of course, it's below freezing. So, and I don't have a washer dryer in my unit. And they're the poor little, I had their little, they have little hammocks that they sleep in. I had to take both of them down because they threw up in both of the hammocks. I had to wash kittens because one of them got in the way of another one when they vomited. So everybody had to be washed. So at one point I had a cat carrier full of washed and unwashed kittens sitting in the bathroom because it's warmer in there. It's warm in there. While I cleaned out their crate and put their clean pee pads down. And then they decided, well, we're wet. Here's a good idea. Let's get into the litter box, which had clay litter in because I ran out of my grassy litter. And there's a reason why I stopped using clay litter. There's a reason why. So now we have basically mud. Now I have a litter box full of mud, kittens that look like they were in the mud all over the pee pads. I'm like, I can't believe this. I have to clean this out again. It's now like 3:00 in the morning. I'm, someone please come and pew me. It's funny now, but at that point I was just like, I can't. Yeah, you would not have wanted to see, well, maybe you would have. That might have made really compelling YouTube vision instead of television, YouTube vision. It probably would have been taken down. I think YouTube probably would have frowned upon what I had to say and what was happening at that moment, and kittens stuffed in a carrier and wet and filled. Yeah, and the little black kitten Maleficent. For those of you who don't know, who aren't familiar with the channel, she had in her tail, she had like little clumps of the litter, and then she had little clumps on her foot, and oh yeah, it was a mess, Mary. It was a mess. I mean, it was a mess. Oh my. I can't even. Yeah. Cat Mama says, this is why changing Ruby's diet is so slow. I'm exhausted from cleaning up vomit. Yes. And see, the other thing, and it was my fault. I wasn't thinking, because like I said, they had their adoption event from 1 to 4 on Sunday. So we left about 1:30. We got over there. We had to wait because she had so many people coming in, foster kid people coming in to have the cats checked to see who can get neutered, who can get spayed, who needs microchipped, who needs this and that and the other. So she had all that going on. It's a zoo in there when they have these adoption events to begin with, and then everything else. So it was literally like, oh God, I think it was like 6:00 or so until we pulled into the parking lot. And then we had a bunch of stuff to unload because my friend got me a bag of litter because she knew I had run out essentially. And I was waiting I was going to order some from Chewy, and I hadn't even done that yet. Oh, and by the way, Cat Mom, I have a Chewy order coming thanks to you and Deb. So I was able to get two Chewy orders. So thank you. Cat Mamas, like for those of you new to the channel, Cat Mamas are she's our sponsor. We're gonna call you our sponsor, Cat Mama. This video is sponsored by Cat Mama. Cat Mama has been Cat Mama has been really very generous and helpful with things. So we do appreciate her. Um, yeah. So yeah, so I got everything up, and it was just, it was like, and I'm trying to get everybody situated. Jack had to have his second dose of medicine, and I want to do the colony cats, and then the puke party started. So yeah, it was fun. And Mary, I didn't even, the funniest thing about that was, like, I did the Chewy orders, because I planned on doing them. I was going to do them in the evening because I didn't think I was going to be up until like 3 o'clock in the morning with puking kittens. So I'm like at, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm trying to stay awake and put together a Chewy order, and I got the first one done, and then I went through and did the second one. And then I did the second one. The sale went off at 6:30 Eastern time on Monday morning. So I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. Okay, 5 a.m. I still have time. I still have an hour and a half. I can get this other second order in. So I'm doing this second order, and I fell asleep. I woke up, it was 20 of 6, and I'm like, what was I doing? I'm like, oh geez, that's right. I'm trying to finish a Chewy order. So I kind of remember I got cat litter, Cat Mama. I did get the cat litter. And I ordered some food, and the rest will probably be a surprise. I think I got like the litter disposal bags too in there. But yeah, it's people don't really understand unless you actually go through it. And I'm not a rescue. I'm not a rescue. I fostered. And basically, even like the fostering I do is, it's like kind of informal fostering, because I'm basically pulling cats from my colony that I think can be adopted. Cat Mama says, so many helped me when I raised my son alone. Plus, I'm living vicariously as a colony manager through Wanda. Thank you, Cat Mama. Yeah, pay it forward. Yep. Yeah. And one thing I do want to say here about the kittens, okay? I do want to talk about this quickly. Nika was originally diagnosed, or was originally tested positive for FELV, which is feline leukemia. And at that point, I had a lovely person email me with a lot of information about FELV. And what she said was, you have a platform here where you can make a difference in these cats' lives. Because I don't want to say her name because I don't know if she'd be comfortable with that or not. But she's not a vet tech or a rescue or anything like that, but she's a big advocate for placing cats that have special needs. So cats that have FELV, cats that have FIV, cats that have diabetes or paralyzed, or, cats that have any kind of disability, basically, or disease that would not make them easy cats to place in an adoption situation. She advocates for them, and she tries to educate people. And I mean, I really applaud what she's doing. And the fact that she took her time out to write a really nice email to me and send me all that information means a lot. And so I want to assure that person and anyone else on this channel that, yes, we will continue to talk about FELV. We will continue to find research. If I can get interviews with any of the quote experts that I see in workshops or presentations or literature, if anyone is willing to come on and talk with me about it and give folks more education, I will happily do that. It's not a situation where, well, everybody's FELV free, so whatever. It was compelling YouTube while we were going through it. It was, it got more views than normal. It got some subscribers because people were following the saga. And now I don't care. It's not going to be that situation. I'm not that person. It's not going to be that situation. This is a channel for education and advocacy, and we will continue to do that. And also networking, and support. So, I see people all the time in the comments, which I'm way behind. I apologize to everyone. I usually try to like and heart everything and leave at least some kind of comment. And I'm really behind. I'm like a week behind. So I'm going to try to catch up on that. It's just been a wild ride, folks. So I just wanted to put that out there that we're going to continue to, we're continue to pass on education, because I think that's a really good subject, is the FELV, and there's a lot of misconceptions about it. And these cats can live. The more I'm learning, the more it's very obvious that a lot of these cats do not have to be euthanized, that they can live very well, and they can live relatively healthy. Maybe not as long as, a cat that doesn't have FELV, but they can still live a relatively good life. So there's that. And as far as Jack's concerned, like I said, the other issue is his poop. He finally did. Well, Rogue got me up this morning, like at 2:00, 3:00. Because he lets me know. He's like my little supervisor here. He lets me know when there's a problem. And Jack was crying, and I went out, and he had pooped. He had actually pooped in his box. And I took pictures of it to send to Kayla, because I couldn't get a stool sample I really need a stool. He really needs to have the stool looked at. So what's happening now, and, trigger warning, if you don't want to hear about poop, maybe don't listen for the next few minutes. So he's still kind of runny, but some of it's formed now too. But I have seen some blood mixed in with it. So that may be Giardia, or parasites, or it could be something else. Who knows? So if I can get I get a fecal sample to Kayla. I'm looking at him and going, oh, so you do it now. You couldn't have done it Saturday night. You couldn't have had this. You couldn't have had this waiting in the litter box for me. And it was a lot. It was like 2 big messes in there. I could have gotten Kayla. Okay, so this is what Kayla told me. Now, you really know who the cat people are in the room, because the people that are still watching this, people that are normal are like, yeah, thanks, too much information, bye. The cat people are like, yeah, tell me more, Wanda. What did the poop look like? And then we'll start pretty soon I'll start seeing in the chat, I had a cat and his poop was blue with purple polka dots. So she told me, I was telling her, I said, I'll try to get a sample, but the problem is his poop's really runny. And she said, okay. She said, here's what you do. You get a syringe. She's serious now. I mean, this is serious stuff. So you get a syringe. And she said, you drop the syringe. And she said, if you get 2 syringes, that's even better. And then just put them in the baggie. And, you can put them in the refrigerator, and that'll be fine. Like, okay, just what I want. Poop-filled syringes in my refrigerator. Mark's missing all of it. He's going to be so upset. So that's basically the story of Jack. And I think I'm going to leave it there. I did have an email I wanted to share. I can do that. I could do that in another one. Yeah, serious shit talk. Yeah, I did have an email. There was a woman that sent me an email about the other channel, and a it was her experience, and I just wanted to I wanted to read that, but I think I'll wait. This isn't like the other email. This was she was actually looking for help and trying to get help from the channel that claims that they're all about cats, and they start an LLC to help cats, and and basically, well, I guess I don't even have to read it. I can just basically say what happened. So the woman, she sent me an email, and she said, look, she said, I've had experience with this person. I agree with She agrees with me that it's there's something fraudulent about it. And she showed me emails between her and, well, this was through the so-called website. And it was basically, I can't help you. This is a for-profit business set up only for a specific group of cats in Arkansas. That's it. Like, we're not helping anybody else. Just this, which is her cats. Her cats on her cats that she's not even supposed to have because they have a pet limit. But the woman, I emailed her back, and she said she would talk to me. So I did call her, and we had a little discussion. And basically, it turns out that this person lives near the trailer park. Is it Meadow? I have it here. Meadowview, the Meadowview Mobile Park. She lives around the area, so she knows where it's at. And she herself has, I'm not sure where she's at, but wherever she's at, they have stray cats too. And I think she saw, I think she might have seen the video that was on this channel about the cats of Meadowview, and who, and the person was talking about who they are and what they do. I think that's what she saw. And then when she saw, then she like went away for a while. I mean, she just kind of like is one of those, it was through her feed and she saw it or something. And then she somehow got to the other channel and looked up the website and put in a request, because the website's down now. She did have a website up with cats and stuff, and it said something about she wanted to help the cats in her area and her community, and but yeah, that made me feel a little bit better that, no, I shouldn't say it made me feel better, because it just shows that she's scamming other people now. So that doesn't, and I don't feel good about that, but there is a certain vindication there of, yeah, it's not that I'm a sour person because somebody just basically tried to burn down the channel and left. No, there's actual issues here. So I don't know. The person said something about possibly going to the authorities, and I encouraged them to do so. I said, try the Attorney General's office, try the, police, whoever. I don't know who you have in your area, but yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's any money exchanged or anything. It sounded like she was just asking for help. When maybe the next live or something, maybe I'll read the actual emails. I have to jump off of here soon because I have my workshop coming up at 12. So, but I just wanted to throw that in there because I did say in the beginning, and I didn't want to, I don't want people, I didn't want it to be like a clickbait kind of thing. Like, oh, I have a secret. And then, oh, you have to wait to the next live. So, yeah. But it's kind of at the point, yeah, it's not worth it. It just this is, you know, yesterday when I got the email from it was from one of our subscribers, and they said, "Yeah, it's still going on." And I thanked them, and I'm like, "I don't have time for it. I just don't." I mean, I have kittens, I have Jack, I have my indoor crew, I have the outdoor crew, I have myself to take care of. I don't have time to, I mean, this whole thing with the engaging in drama, I don't have time for it. And I don't even consider this drama. This is just basically what you're doing is slandering, what you're doing is libel, what you're doing is defamation, is not drama. And you could stop it. All you have to do is stop talking about me and stop talking about the channel and stop making these allegations that aren't true. That's all you have to do. But you choose not to. It was funny because I was just watching a podcast this morning, or listening to a podcast, and the person was talking about the current government fiasco that we have. And he started with, did you ever have a friend that keeps screwing up and making messes, and then they come back and they try to make excuses for everything and cover up and lie and say they didn't do anything wrong? And I'm like, yeah, not a friend, but yeah, I know somebody like that." And he said, and then he was going on and saying, well, that's what we have right now in the White House. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, we have it. We have it in our personal lives too. So yeah, Mary, and that's what it boils down to. Mary says, you've got way more than enough on your plate already. Yeah, and that's kind of, what I'm looking at too. And the thing is that as a content creator, you have to look at what your community wants. Because if your community is telling you, we don't want to hear about the drama, we don't want videos with shit talk, we're here for the cats. We want to know, we want to hear about your colony, we want to hear about your indoor cats, we want to hear about Jack, we want follow up on the kittens, we want to see the good stories, we want to see, okay, people were really invested in Nika and the kittens. People were following that. People were very happy. I was very happy that I was able to put that video up for everyone to see. Look, see, one person can make a difference. And what I mean by one person is not just me, but one person, like coming together as a group. But each person has their role. Like Cat Mama helped, and Mary helped, and people that and it doesn't have to be a financial help. It can be like Catitude suggesting, use tuna juice. That'll maybe cover the taste of the doxy and Jack will take it. It can be as simple as that. So it doesn't have to be, oh, here's $100 for, whatever you need kind of thing. It doesn't have to be that. It can be anything. It can be the woman that emailed me the information about FELV and gave me some really good resources. It can be that. It can be any of that. But it's each person individually plays a role in the help of saving these cats. And it's, I'm going to steal Furball Farm, what Julie always says, teamwork makes the dream work. And it's true. It does. Teamwork makes the dream work. And the dream and there's not any teamwork if everybody is just playing keyboard warrior and, shit talking other channels and how's that helping cats? It's not. It's not helping anyone. So, I appreciate my community. I mean, my community has been very supportive. Very, very supportive. And as I said before, it doesn't have to be a financial support. It can be anything from a kind word or some advice, or I've had somebody else email me a bunch of resources of places to get different cat care products discount at a discount rate, which was really nice. Yeah, Mary, a real cat community. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important. And it's like, my channel, in that other channel, she can, if they can brag about, oh, look, I have more subs than her and I have more this. And we're like mopping the floor with her. Are you really? But are you really? You're mopping the floor with me because you have what? A little over 2,000 subs and I have, I don't know, 1,200 or something. That's what you consider mopping the floor with someone. I don't know. That person had a live stream, an impromptu live stream, and nobody showed up, and they just left because nobody showed up. She hung in there for like 15, 20 minutes, and then nobody showed up, and she left. I would think somebody would be around. I mean, if your community likes what you have to say and is engaged with you, I know that's how I am. Like, I know Mary and I, we follow, I am Raven Warrior. Put another plug out for Raven Warrior. She doesn't need, look, it's not that she needs more subs. I mean, yeah, it's, I would love to see her have like the million subs, but she just blew up. Like, her channel blew up. When I subscribed, she had like 5,000. Now she has, what is it? 200,000. I mean, it's just insane. And I don't know what video it was, but there was some one video or something went viral and it just blew up. But this woman, bless her heart, she's in Turkey. She's someone, I think she's from the UK originally. She's in Turkey and she's trying to save cats. And bless her heart, she's the sweetest person. I just sat on one of her lives the other day and we were going back and forth. And she has the nicest community. I really would recommend, if you're looking for I know a lot of you already are looking at cat channels, but if you are looking for another like really feel good kind of cat channel where it's very positive and not toxic and there's not shit talking going on, I would try that one. Because she's very, very sweet. Okay, Cat Mama, thanks. I gotta go shortly too. Cat Mama says, time for wet food here, then work, then have a good one. You too, Cat Mama. I hope your day goes well for you. So she just, I don't know, Mary, did you see the latest that Raven had up? It was a cat named Milka. Oh, this poor cat was paralyzed, was pregnant. The babies had unalived inside of her. She had maggots. It was just brutal. And they just basically left her out in the backyard on a piece of cardboard to perish. And her name's Shelly. I think her name's Shirley. I think they call her Shelly. She got this cat, took it to the vet, and they ended up euthanizing her. You said Milka, yeah, Milka. I mean, that's a true rescue person. She's sweet. She's not spending her time. I don't see people in her chat, talking about other channels. Oh, I didn't see how that person take care of their cat. And don't even get me started on how the kitten's in the little crate and blah, blah, blah. You don't see that kind of shit in her content. She cares about, and that's, what I want this community to be. Cause I think everybody's here as an adult, Yes, she is. She's genuine. Yes, she is. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we had a good discussion on what day was that? It was early in the morning. Well, it was like afternoon for them because she's in Turkey. But here, I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Pennsylvania. It was early. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. And I got on it. I got in the chat, and there were people there are people in there too that are cat rescuers. So that's always great to talk to. And and there was a discussion that happened about people that are cat rescuers, but they keep accumulating cats and nothing ever leaves. There's always an excuse. Well, nobody can take care of this cat. Well, this cat has FIV, so this cat isn't adoptable. I hate to break it to that person, but a cat with FIV is adoptable. They adopt them out all the time. In fact, the standard of care is such now that they mingle FIV positive and FIV negative cats. They don't isolate them anymore because it's very hard to spread FIV. It has to be through a deep bite or breeding. Rogue's FIV. You know what? I would still adopt him. I would adopt an FIV cat. I'd have no problem adopting an FIV cat. FELV is a little bit different. And the reason that I would be hesitant on that is just because I don't have the financial, because a lot of them do end up with health issues. But there are, like, Austin Pets Alive has a program where they actually will adopt out FELV, and they'll also offer vet support for anything that is now, like routine vaccinations and stuff. No, but anything that is associated with the FELV, like FELV, many times they end up with cancer. So anything like that, they will help with vet costs. And they found that a lot of people don't even take them up on it. They just love the cat to the day it passes. I mean, that was the hard thing for me because, I'm keeping Maleficent. And I really struggled with that because I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I thought if she comes up FELV positive, I can't in good faith keep her. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I don't have the resources. And if I didn't have any cats and I was more financially stable, it'd be different. But luckily, it was a bad test. Oh, and by the way, if Callie watches this, Callie, I'm going to have to put something on the community tab post too so that she can see this. But Callie asked a question about what the SNAP test is. And Austin Pets Alive is pretty awesome, I think, Mary. I mean, I've heard good things about it. And they have Vincent Medley. He worked with them. He was head of Haas for a while, Human Animal Support Services. Haas is a really good. I should actually put some of these, like Maddie's Fun and stuff. I should put this up in the community tab for folks. They offer free webinars, workshops, etc. And they're free. They're good. They give you support. They have kind of like a Discord you can get into. Haas has an email. You can contact them if you have any questions. I've gotten some really good contacts through them. But yeah, FELV is a bit of a harder one, but FIV, they can definitely adopt them out. And I know I just lost my train of thought there because I got excited when Mary was. So I don't know, whatever sentence I didn't finish, sorry. That's the ADHD. So yeah, FIV. Now I understand if the cat has an injury and the injury isn't healing, but again, that has been going on for 8 months. And if the vet is expressing concern as to, okay, I don't understand why the wound keeps reopening, then something's not right. Something needs to be addressed. Or maybe amputation needs to be considered. But yeah, I would recommend um, HASS, HASS, Human Animal Support Services, Maddie's Fund, and for YouTube, I Am Raven. It's I Am Raven Warrior, right, Mary? I think it's I Am Raven, but then she has I Am Raven Warrior. She's a good channel. But we talked about people that have, that's actually a form of hoarding, and it's called overwhelmed caregiver. So the person is caring for the animals. I mean, all of that's fine. They're caring for the animals, they're providing vet care, but there's something not right with the thinking. It's like, nobody can care for these animals like I can. So they feel like they have to care for all of the animals instead of trying to, find homes for them or work with a rescue or get them in a working cat program. Just saying. Um, I, on the other hand, do not want 40 cats. I don't want 20 cats. I love my cats, don't get me wrong. But at 3 o'clock in the morning when we're having a puke party, it's like, you guys now need, you guys are old enough to get spayed and neutered. Time to get spayed and neutered and move on. We'll find you a lovely home where you can puke to your little heart's content. Oh my God, they're cute little shits though. They really are. They really are. I was cleaning them today, and one of them like crawled up on my back, and one of them was and I was kneeling. So at the back of my knee, where your leg bends, one of them was laying in that bend. Yeah, they were like, and then Maleficent. Maleficent's learning her name, so I'm teaching her to come when she calls. When I call, the only thing is that when I call her, she thinks it's fun to come running, and she leaps and she flies up onto my leg and tries to, and I'm supposed to catch her. I think that isn't interesting. That's a video. If that video wouldn't go viral, I don't know what will. Yeah, Mary, it is a real problem. Hoarding is a real problem, and it's a problem too because it's not always recognized. Um, it's very complicated, and you know, animal hoard. It's easy to recognize. It's just like a house or apartment or whatever. A hoarding situation is pretty easy to recognize if it's like a quote dirty hoarding situation. But if it's like my apartment's incredibly cluttered. I mean, it's just incredibly. That's why I won't show parts of my apartment. It's incredibly cluttered because I was going to move several times, and each time it fell through. And now I'm at the point where, well, with this current economy, with the current administration, with everything going on, I'm not gonna go anywhere because I don't want to be homeless. And I know I'm pretty stable here. So now I have to I have to unpack and figure out what I'm going to do with everything that I had packed up. And so yeah, it's a total chaos in here. And then, basically all my time goes to kittens and cats. So I don't have a lot of time to work on it. So it is what it is. But someone comes in here like, oh, you're a hoarder. And I'm not. It's not a hoarding situation. I'm able to get rid of things. I know that things could be neater. I'm not a dirty person. Things are clean. You know, you look at the cat. The cat. I don't want to tell a lie here. Let me see. Yeah, it's clean. I don't think, because I did just clean that out. Let me see. I might be lying, and on a live, that's not good. Let's see. Mary says it sneaks in a little at a time until they are overwhelmed. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. It really does. I went through, being very honest here. I went through a similar experience back when there was a lot going on. My father had passed away from cancer. My mother was disabled. She was bedridden. I was the only one trying to keep things together. We had financial issues. We were in the trailer. We had landlord issues. It was just a lot. And I had pets. And those pets were like the only thing that I really had that I felt was mine. And I was very protective of them and possessive of them. And yeah, I should have definitely rehomed some of those pets, because looking back at it, I wasn't in a good place. I had mental health issues that weren't being treated properly. I shouldn't have had them. I shouldn't have. I never intentionally meant to hurt anything, but they probably would have been better off with people that would have had more time for them and been able to better care for them. And yeah, what Mary's saying is right. Sneaks in a little at a time until they are overwhelmed. And you get overwhelmed, and then when you reach out for help, there isn't any. My local SPCA didn't want to help me at all. First, they said they take the animals. Then they were like, "Oh, well, you have to transport them." Well, I didn't have a car because another long story. I went through a time in my life that was very chaotic, and that's a whole other 8-hour live stream. If I explained everything, there's no way I can just condense it into a nutshell, but just trust me. I understand. And, people can recover. They recover, once my mental illness was diagnosed and treated, and I've been stable for many years now. And I look back at that time and go, wow, there should have been help for me, but it was an extreme situation. And it does, though. It does. That's one of the reasons I don't like the show Hoarders, because I don't feel like they treat the people with compassion and respect. Now some of them are really nasty and probably don't deserve that respect. But there's other ones. There's been a couple that I've seen that I've really sat here and been in tears, because I'm like, that's not the way to handle that situation, because that person really was struggling, and it was very obvious they were struggling, and they were not intending to hurt anything. They just were very overwhelmed, and they had a lot of trauma, and they weren't being treated. And it was just a bad situation. So, I don't agree with animal mistreatment, neglect, abuse, whatever. But I also understand that some things that we look at on the surface that appear abusive, it's not an intentional thing, and those people need a little bit of grace and some help. Doesn't excuse what's been done, but it's more complicated than people think it should be. People just think it's very simple, and it's not. It's very complicated issues. No, maybe we'll do a live stream about that sometime. Yeah, I can find somebody. I know a couple of psychologists. I know some people. I think we had a hoarding task force here at one point. I'll have to see if I can find somebody that can talk about it. So it is 11:52. I have to get on this workshop for kitten fostering at 12. So I'm going to end it here. So thank you everyone who showed up. Yeah, I think so too, Mary. Mary said that would be a good subject. I think so too. I'll see if I can find somebody. I'd like to. I always feel more comfortable having an expert talk about it, or sit and talk to an expert about it. I can do research and I can regurgitate what I read, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know, you know. So I'd rather, because people are asking me questions, I can't answer it. Um, you're welcome, Mary. Thank you for hanging out here. Sorry for the short notice. So there's a story of Jack, update on the kittens, a little bit of, addressing whatever that video is that's over there. Um, like I said, I don't have time for it. My community isn't interested in it. My community's not interested in back and forth shit talking, so that's not going to happen. And I guess I will just leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there on a positive note of being a channel about cats and the people who love them. And I will see you all in the next one. I don't know when that'll be, but we'll figure it out. Hope you all have a good day or evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you, Mary and Cat Mama, and Never Give Up. Whoever was watching, hopefully you're not all from the other channel rage watching, and hopefully. I don't understand that either. Just don't even come over to the channel at all. Don't watch. Don't, just let it go. Go concentrate on helping the cats. Okay? That's a positive thing. Coming over here and lurking and seeing what I'm going to say about your mistress, that's negative. You understand the difference? Cat content good, shit talking content bad. I don't know how much more simple I can make it. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there. I'll see you in the next one. Going off to my workshop. Bye for meow.